Good morning and welcome to a rainy Wednesday morning after a Tuesday of rain in Lagos. It seems that, now when it rains, it not only pours in Lagos, but it floods. Yesterday was a day that many will not forget in the Lekki side of Lagos because, after an intense, heavy rain, traffic was literally hell. I cannot relate, but a few of my colleagues.
Why are you like that? This is a moment in time in which we need to be commiserating with our colleagues and with Lagosians who went through horrible.
We always do that. We always do that.
No, I felt for them. Were you not up in the main group yesterday?
I was.
Okay, continue.
All right. Now, many of our colleagues, just as Tolu has actually said, who live on that side of town, spent hours in traffic. And we're not talking about just 2 or 3 hours, though, but 6 to 10 hours, right? Many did not even get home until 10 p.m. and even after. And, here's what they had to go through yesterday. Thank God they're journalists, so they were able to document it. Let's see.
That's my office site. That's one. Water go food inside that one too. Water go food outside. What? We're in barbecue. We're literally at the beach. My heart is even beating. You know that? Guys, so I'm not even sure what the heck is going on. This is like Lekki, which is this is what we're paying our rents for. Where does it?
The guy will use this photo.
No, you go follow now.
Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Now one person or two.
Yeah.
Now one.
Yes.
Okay.
Guys, please stay at home. Stay at home, please. Everywhere is flooded. I mean, the movement is slow, and this is just to 3. Not even closing hour yet. See traffic everywhere.
Hey, God, oh. Eh? Got out.
Now you can only see 2 of us, but never fear. It is because of the rain. Catherine is going to join us any moments from now. And this is what happens not just in Lagos, but around other parts of the country. This also reminds me of the same situation, I think it was in April, but it wasn't rain then. It was because of the closure of the Independence Bridge, the very unceremonious closure of the Independence Bridge that they wanted to fix. And apparently people didn't know. We had gotten the, what do you call this thing? We had gotten the notice, but nobody really knew where, do you see Lagos? Nobody really knew which bridge was Independence Bridge, and it was just that closure that caused this. Now, the limited number of roads leading into and out of Victoria Island and Lekki, they end up putting extreme pressure. As in, people put so much pressure on those roads, and those roads face extreme pressure when there are road closures, when there's construction, or heavy rainfall like this. Even now, it has started raining again. Even the Lekki that people did not reach home until 12 midnight, 1 a.m. yesterday, it has already started again. We're on the Ikeja side of things. It's raining even as we start this show.
It is raining. I'm beginning to believe that, nothing, absolutely nothing can be done about this because, like you said, it's not just in Lagos. It also happened in Abuja. It flooded in a few areas, a few days ago. And it's really, really sad, seeing these things happen. And I feel for those who were not able to make it to work yesterday, and a lot more people will not be able to make it to work today as well because even with the drizzle, I encountered traffic Meanwhile, I actually live around Ikeja. I still encounter traffic. So you can imagine those coming from distances
Further
like
distances,
Ajah
yes.
and Lekki and the likes. I also saw a video yesterday of a lady in a car, and it was flooded. Like the car was moving, but she was just playing around with her legs.
That
Like,
was
they're
me.
used to it.
No, so that was me, and that's why I don't believe that nothing can be done. I just believe that we're not doing what can be done. There are countries. So Lagos is a city that is under sea level. We've gotten enough warnings from the UN and climate change people telling us that as climate change gets worse, the rains that we're going to get are going to intensify. So what you probably ended up seeing yesterday was the amount of rain we might have gotten over a week being the amount of rain that was gotten in maybe 3 or 4 hours in one day. And then, you know, I've seen Lagos, they're trying to clear gutters, but it obviously seems like it's not enough. Remember, don't forget that they were also clearing estates that they said were on the canals. Should we not have seen a reflection of those clearings now?
I think it's more, and they need to actually look deeper to find out, you know, how. Impactful ways.
They don't
that
need to look deep.
No, they need to, because like you said, the gutters are not working.
We're not the only city going through this. Lagos does not need to reinvent the wheel. This is not peculiar to just Lagos. Under sea level, low-lying city-states are doing what they need to do. The truth of the matter is, let me tell you, if Lagos does what Lagos needs to do, there are going to be plenty people that will swear for this Lagos, because there are lots of things wrong. People have built in many, many places that they should not have built, and it's been ignored for many years. So if they now, this seat feels strange. It feels so strange being here. If they do what Lagos really should do, it's going to be a lot of screaming, shouting, and gnashing of teeth.
So you're saying we are the problem. We're not ready
part
for
of the
what
problem. We're not
happening.
we're not ready for the full solution of this. We want Lagos to do everything for us, but you still have people who are throwing trash inside gutters. If it was it not like sometime earlier this year that a family or a house was closed down because the rain came and they brought all their trash out? I was caught in one of this. I don't know if you guys remember. We were back in VI then. This major rainstorm that happened on an afternoon. And at the end of the day, it was the Lagos Island car park was flooded. That was our first sign. My car got flooded. That car, I eventually had to sell it. I was in traffic. There were places that I was going, I could look out my window like this, and there were bottles, plastic bottles, hitting the side of the car. I don't know how I made it home in 6 hours after that, and I don't know how the car continued for a few more months. But at the end of the day, it was a problem. But we've had that. We had the flooding in 2012. We've had the rains intensify in the past several years. Where are we in making sure that all those lessons and all those things that have happened have now come to this point where we're still not experiencing? You guys are not ready.
We're not ready. We're not ready. Both government and you know.
Please tell them what NIMET is saying, because you know in Lagos we also have what's called the 7 days rain. I don't know if this is the 7 days
before the rain ends or something.
So there's usually a 7 days rain. You have rain raining intermittently, but then there seems to be a period of time that 7 days it just rains. It is rainy, whether it's sprinkling or heavy thunderstorms, it is raining for 7 days. And it's been raining since Sunday in one or two places around this city. The other thing I found really interesting is how scattered some of the thunderstorms are. So we were in Ogba yesterday, and it barely rained yesterday. Only for me to get to Surulere, parts of it flooded, parts and then into VI, Lekki, all of that flooded. We're also having scattered thunderstorms. So somebody might be calling you and telling you it's raining here, and you don't see anything
nothing is happening
where you are.
Yeah, so, you know, NIMET actually did post this 13 hours ago on their page on X, and they talked about thunderstorms would be, with moderate rains are expected over parts of Ogun, Oyo, Ondo, Ekiti, Osun, Bayelsa, Edo, Delta, Imo, Abia, Enugu, Anambra, Ebonyi, Rivers, Akwa Ibom, and Cross River states. And they talked about prospects of flooding over parts of Lagos, Ogun, and Oyo states. Thunderstorms may cause temporary disruption of outdoor activities, and they advise motorists to drive cautiously during rainfall due to reduced visibility and slippery roads. And residents in flood-prone areas are also advised to take precautionary measures. Local authorities, emergency services, and relevant stakeholders should also remain on the alert.
We all have to be very careful. There are potholes on the roads. Cars can enter them. That's why
There
you
are
saw
open
in
gutters as
Lekki.
well.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's why you saw in Lekki so many people are staying on one side of the road because they don't know what is in that water that side.
Absolutely.
We've had situations where people, adults and children have been carried by flood waters are carried because of this flooding. So this is not something we should look away from. And I'm really waiting also to hear what the state government has to say. Because right now, we're all going to look to you. There's traffic management to be had. There's some kind of water situation. I don't know. Do we need to? There are trucks that can actually pull water from flood areas sometimes when it happens. What are we going to do? And it's still raining.
Or should somebody think of making canoe cars or something?
Stop it. You're not serious. Stop
Manufacturing
it.
canoe cars.
All right. And it's just going to be, I don't know how it is, somebody who's getting home at 11, 12 and has to be back up
I can't
again.
even
I
imagine.
hope that we have HRs that are empathetic to the situation that many Lagosians are finding themselves in.
I cannot imagine it. And the thing is, when you even tell some of them to, why not move to the mainland or move to places where, it's not flood prone, they tell you, no, it has to be on the island. I can't leave the island for it.
It's okay.
Stay there.
We're all here.
We'll keep
aside from the rainfall and the horrible, nightmarish traffic of yesterday, the other major story from Tuesday was what many are calling the political comeback of Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan. Now, she made her much-anticipated return to the National Assembly after a 6-month suspension. She arrived at about 12:30 p.m. to cheering supporters, though many were denied entry into the National Assembly complex. Now, security operatives actually used tear gas. I'm still trying to understand this. They used tear gas to disperse the crowd. Now, speaking to journalists afterwards, she didn't hold back, describing her suspension as illegal and unjust and accusing Senate President Godswill Akpabio of treating her like a servant and running the chamber like a dictatorship. She mentioned that there was no official information sent to her lifting her suspension. She just heard her office was now unsealed and resumed. News Central's National Assembly correspondent Sagir Ibrahim covered her return. Let's take a look at how things went down yesterday.
The mission is clear. These supporters are determined to accompany their lawmaker back into her office at the National Assembly complex. Chanting solidarity songs, they marched on until they approached the main gates, facing fierce resistance. Security operatives, having shut the gates after the crowd breached the first entry point, moved to stop them. After repeated attempts, the supporters forced their way through the entrance, but were met with heavy resistance and tear gas from the police.
It's unfortunate that a number of our supporters were tear gassed at the gates, and the gates were closed behind them. It's actually wrong because this is the People's Parliament. People should have unhindered access to the National Assembly.
Despite the setback, Natasha advanced into the Senate wing with some supporters who managed to withstand the clampdown. But access posed another challenge.
A senator has been suspended for 6 months. We are walking down in here, and you are seeing the way people are being manhandled just because they are wearing uniforms and they have the authority of the state.
That is what our law enforcement agents are about. It is about hampering on and victimizing lawful citizens who are armless, while non-kidnappers and bandits are holding press conferences in Katsina.
What had seemed like an uphill battle eventually climaxed as the embattled lawmaker finally stepped into her office for the first time in 6 months, flanked by the few who successfully overcame the barricade.
From the unjust suspension to the recall, it's amazing what we had to survive. And I give God Almighty the glory and my deepest appreciation to the good people of Kogi Central, Kogi State and Nigeria at large.
The adhesive from the seal is still quite sticky on the door. Well, this is the location, Suite 2.05, the office of suspended lawmaker Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan, of course, the destination of the multitudes of her supporters, including herself, who made an attempt to access the premises and also successfully entered this office. The question now on the minds of many is what plenary will look like on October 7 when it resumes after months of recess and upon the conclusion of her suspension. Will she be led back into the chambers? Well, only time will tell. In Abuja for News Central, Sagir Ibrahim.
So this whole situation has been interesting, and we followed it from the very, very beginning. Initially, as we said earlier, that there was tear gas fired, and I was like, why would you use tear gas? I still don't necessarily agree with the use of tear gas, but when you look at the crowd, that crowd was a bit much, and that crowd was a bit quite rowdy.
Yeah.
And they were not all going to fit into the hallway. They were not all going to fit into her office.
Yeah.
It's good to have the support that she had, but I think we still need to work with crowd management.
But this is actually what happens when, a region, has been denied representation for a really, really long time. Everyone came out. I saw a lot of people travel from different states to support her, and it's a good thing that this has actually ended because it has gone on for too long.
Do you think it is over?
I pray and I hope that
I don't think it's
honestly.
over. Look, don't forget that when she sent a letter, this is mid-September, I think early September, she sent a letter to them telling them that she was going to resume because the suspension was over. The National Assembly, through a clerk, replied and said that the case was still in court.
Exactly.
So is it that the case is no longer in court, so that's why you are unsealing her office? And if you watch the video from the unsealing, I think it was a deputy clerk of the National Assembly yesterday who was unsealing her office. He was standing there. I hereby, I was like, what's this? I hereby unseal this off. What was that? So is the case no longer in court? Has the case been removed from court? So you're unsealing her office, saying that she's free to resume her official duties, even though she says she never stopped being a senator, never stopped representing her people. But I don't think it's over.
Yeah. From what we know about our politicians, especially the men, I don't think that they will give up that easy. I don't think that he will give up that easy, but let's watch and see. Let's watch and see.
There's a lot to come in, as Sagir said, of course. When the Senate, the National Assembly resumes when they resume later on in September, no, they moved it to October, right? When they resume in October, a lot of eyes are going to be on that first resumption to see how things play out. But we have much more to do on Jasiri.
Yes, indeed. Do not forget you're still watching Jasiri. And after the break, we're diving into global mobility, visa inequality, and the African travel experience. Around the world, millions can pick up their passports and cross borders with ease. But for Africans, the story is very different. We're talking about long queues, expensive applications, endless rejections, and lots more of challenges. Travel is more than leisure. It's work, study, family, and even opportunity. And yet, too often, those doors are closed to us. So we have Damilola Osikoya, founder and CEO of Voyage Travels and Switch Visuals Production, joining us after the break as we dig deeper into the policies shaping this inequality, the human stories behind the statistics, and what Africa itself can do to claim its rightful place in a more just and open world. Stay with us.
Why is it that a European passport is a ticket to the world, but an African passport is often a wall of questions, delays, and rejections? Travel should be about discovery, opportunity, and freedom. But for many Africans, it's an uphill battle. Today, we take a closer look at what global mobility really means for Africans, from students seeking education abroad to young professionals chasing opportunities to families hoping to explore new destinations. Africans encounter barriers that others do not. The rules of global travel and visa policies are shifting, with impact not only on tourism, but also on work and migration. This is not just about holidays. It's about dignity, fairness, and access. It's about whether Africans can truly participate in a world that claims to be more open and interconnected than ever before. Joining us to explore these questions is Damilola Osikoya. She's the founder and CEO of Voyage Travels and Switch Visual Productions. Remember that. There's a reason that's important. Now, with her experience navigating the world of travel, tourism, and visual storytelling, she brings a unique perspective on the realities Africans face and the opportunities that lie ahead. Damilola, welcome to Jasiri.
Thank you. It's so good to be here.
She's so cute.
She's excited.
She's so pretty. First thing that came to my mind when I saw it was, she's giving me blessings vibe.
True.
Thank you for being on the table with us. Because
Catherine, are you okay now? I'm so sorry. Are you with us? Are you okay now? Yes. The rain is not stopping us.
Hey!
Ain't no stopping us now.
I'm telling you, let's not go there. To the rain, let's not go there. Happy voyage to the island from here. Now, I need to tell you that in advance. All right, so this is a conversation. Tourism, travel, it's a conversation that it's about time we had it, given the way things are moving around the world. But my question would be, why? Why do Africans face more barriers than any other region in traveling? We are limited by so many things. But why is our case unique? Why does it stand out? Why is it so different?
Why don't they like us? They take our money. They take our money, but they don't like us.
Yeah, like I was saying, that Africa is Africa. We're bold, we're intimidating. We are Africans. And, that can be really intimidating in a good way because, it's just who we are. However, I was saying earlier on that it is strategic gatekeeping. You know that they know how unified, how limited we are in unity around here, and they're using that against us a lot. And you understand also that in different areas of life, Africans that used to dominating the fields, the industry they're in. Our brain is so unique and dynamic. We're used to just breaking boundaries. And like I said, there is something about, she did say, why is African passports facing these problems against the European passport, against other passports? The European passport has the power of 28 countries in one passport.
Yes.
We don't have African passports.
We stand one against many,
exactly,
oftentimes.
Yeah. So we have different African passports. Nigeria has its passport, every African has a passport,
So
and exactly, because you need to understand the dynamic in a soft power play. When you're facing restriction from 28 countries, it's different when you're facing restriction from a country. And you know how many countries we have in Africa? 52 countries. That is powerful. That is a lot. And you can imagine when we're trying to do like collaborations or like trying to get like policy changes, when 52 countries as passports is talking against one country trying to fight injustice in this visa policies and how we're being profiled as Africans. So that is why I think there is a dynamic shift in the power that the passport hold, and it's something to really look into. Like, it's so thought-provoking.
I like the sound of it.
We'll still talk about that dynamic shift. Well, if my calculations are correct, Catherine asked why, I think 5 times, and Tolu asked why, I think 3 times. So why? Why? Every African, feels as if the world is ganging up against them, right? So speak to us. What do you think are the biggest misconceptions, that foreign governments or even institutions have about African travelers? What are some of the biggest barriers that Africans face, especially when seeking to travel, globally?
So we have established there are strict visa restrictions against African passports, right? And that is just like how we've positioned ourselves from time being till now. Like, even professionals, entrepreneurs that can afford to travel, that can travel and come back, they're facing this profiling and are not getting like visas to. And this is beyond just moving people. This is coming back to affect the economic capability and how you're able to cooperate, how you're able to collaborate, how you're able to pitch to other countries and do collaboration across borders. And to be honest, I really think that tourism is a force to reinforce this positioning, and it is often how the stories are told. And it's been a long time coming, the way we do tell our story, how African he is, because
we're more than lions and elephants.
Exactly, and it is the reason why that profiling. So it's a stereotype.
Yeah,
it's the reason why it's like that. It's the reason why we're profiled like that. It's the reason why they think, oh, we need to like gatekeep this, because they don't understand or they're not seeing. It's not it's not in the public how powerful we are, what we're capable of doing, what we're doing in-house ourselves, the barriers that we're breaking.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
You know, when you say this, it's really quite interesting because I say a lot that certain things internationally wear a black face. They wear an African face.
Oh, yeah.
Even when we're not number one. We've talked about the 419, romance scams and all that. What is it? Cyber crime.
Yes.
But Nigeria is not number one. We're not, I think Russia or China or even US. So I think we might be at the bottom of the top 5, but we're in the top 10, no doubt.
Yes.
But we're not number one. We're not number 1. We're not number 2. We're not number 3.
Still.
But when you think of it, it is a black or African face that it wears. Even when it comes to immigrant crime, it often wears a black face as well. That's media perception and bias as well. But Damilola, I want to ask, you talked about the fact that there's shifting dynamics, and we can all see that now. We're in a time in which visa changes are happening overnight. The latest from the U.S. was the $100,000 for H1 or H1B or H1B visas. That's for specialized workers. Of course, we've also seen changes from the UK and Canada in recent times as well. And people are struggling to keep up with these changes, especially those who are interested in migrating. And these are the 3 top countries a lot of Nigerians or even Africans aspire to travel to actively.
Yeah, that's so funny. Yeah.
Which part of it is funny?
It's really, really funny. So I understand, because I do meet first-time travelers, and you tell them, where do you want to go to? And then the first thing that comes to them is America, the UK, Canada, and it's so, every time I ask why.
And
because let me tell you something, because it's the story. That's the most popular country. It is the most powerful. Like myself, I've been to 40 countries, and my most favorite place in the whole wide world is South Africa. It's the most beautiful place I've ever seen. And I've been to all the places. And I can promise you that it's also how we now go about it. Because profiling, you're coming from Africa and you're going to America, and then you're a first-time traveler. And a visa consular is thinking, why have you not explored Africa? Because it's closer to you.
I've heard some reports that you need to break your passport with other countries before applying to some of them.
But that is expensive. I was telling Tulu, I was looking at a flight to Zanzibar, and it's expensive. It was giving me almost 2 million.
Okay, so it's expensive. Going to America is not cheap either. And I'm saying these are just like how the stories are told, because you think what you see, the scenery, the flags that you see in America, you think is not in Africa, but it is. And this is just like how professionals sometimes get it wrong, because they're wondering, why have you not been places that are closer to you? Like, if you really say you want to go for tourism, like they have tourism places closer to you. And whether you like it or not, these 3 countries they've been able to tell their story in such a way that they're sitting on the top 3. Yeah. And it's okay, but then how do you jump from, so it is a story, how do you jump from, I really want to do tourism, I really want to go Accra, I really want to see the world, and you're not seeing the places that are closer to you. Like you've not been to Ghana, you've not been to Tanzania, you've not been to
your backyard. So the stories on your backyard, let's talk about that very quickly, because as these visa rules are changing, we've talked about moving from a sentiment of globalization to nationalistic tendencies that we're seeing around the world right now. How do these constant changing visa rules affect African students, tourists, business people? How does the inequality, even around the visas, also affect opportunities for education, work, and cultural exchange?
It is a big effect on that, because when you look at it, students going to other countries, doing cultural exchange, getting knowledge, there is a backflow of it. It comes back home. It eventually comes back home. Everybody comes back home, and home is Africa. And you have like people in diaspora that have had like this knowledge, that are bringing it back home to do like amazing things. So you understand that we need that. We do need these cultural exchanges. We do need this knowledge. We just need this knowledge exchange and all of that. And these visa restrictions are negatively impacting that happening, putting us at the forefront of the economic equality, because then we have limited access to getting across to investors, pitching businesses, doing collaborations with other people that are not like Africans, and globally placing us where we should be, because we are also people that shaping the future. And it is, and we need to be in the right places at the right time. And that is what travel is about. So, of course, it is negatively impacting us. And you have people that have scholarship, because scholarship is not only from government, it's from private
institutions, private people.
And then they can't make use of this scholarship because they have their visa restrictions.
Yeah, but we know that Africans are badly behaved, can be badly behaved. Some bad apples have spoiled the entire crate or the entire bunch. So don't those ones also contribute?
But that's not fair. That is not fair. I agree what you're saying, but there are bad apples everywhere. And as you have said and pointed that there are bad apples, you know there are amazing apples.
Because we're looking at the tightening of visa rules. Everybody, it's as if, like Tulu said, there's a nationalistic wave across the West.
It's a long time coming, and it's time where we now find, advocacy, we now look into data, and we're able to now find how we're able to advocate for a lesser visa restriction and hacks for this. It's time that we do policies in such a... By the way, it's very hard to get Nigerian visas as well.
I was going to... Because what you're saying right now is visa reciprocity. And when the news came out about the restrictions U.S. had put in place, a lot of people were shouting, but it is very hard to get a Nigerian visa.
Is it then done retaliatorily?
So we don't know which came first, which chicken or which egg came first.
How many people are even interested in getting a Nigerian
People are interested. Business people are coming. Investors are coming. The amount of conferences you're having, a lot of... She's here. A lot of people want to come to Nigeria.
Absolutely. A lot of people want to do business in Nigeria. A lot of people want to come to Nigeria. But it's beyond that. It's very strategic. Regardless of how many people want to come to Nigeria or not, it is a stamp of power to say you cannot come into mine. And they find loopholes in it. They find this restriction in it because it's something that we're not looking at. We don't look at policy-wise how the restriction we've posed against visas can negatively impact us if the other countries decide to do the same. I think we should look into policies where we have fast-track visas for investors coming, entrepreneurs coming, students coming into Nigeria. There should be a faster timeline. There should be something that says we're welcoming as much as we, because then when the conversation comes up, the narrative is not going to be, oh, but you do it as well. Why are you crying about it? Yes, exactly.
And we're allowed. We're allowed. Damilola, let's take a quick break. We don't have as much time as we would love to, but there's still some other places we want to touch. After the break, this conversation on global mobility, visa restrictions, and the African travel experience will continue. Stay with us. So off air, we started talking about the flight conundrum. And we know about the flights, how much cheaper it is to travel outside of the continent than it is to travel within. Then, of course, as we're discussing, there's also the conversation around how hard it is for Africans to get visas to visit other African countries. I needed to emphasize that. Now, Brookings Institute says by 2030, consumer spending on tourism, hospitality, and recreation in Africa is projected to reach about $261.77 billion. That's over $130 billion more than in 2015. Another projection says African tourism's economic contributions could reach $168 billion and 18 million jobs. 18 million jobs by 2033, which is just around the corner. But before we even look at bringing in people from outside the continent, what can and should African countries be doing to make travel easier within the continent? Damilola Osikoya is with us. She is our travel advisor and our travel expert. Damilola, so before, you talked about the fact that people are even saying, even for first-time travelers, go to Ghana, go to your backyard, go to somewhere across the continent. But even for us, when we think about tourism, when we think about, I want to take a vacation, we think West. We think outside of the continent. And you spoke about the fact that South Africa is your most, in visiting 40 countries, is your favorite place to visit. I think we need to really open up our own minds as Africans to the potential of tourism and vacationing here on the continent. What do we need to do?
Yes. First of all, I think it boils down to how we tell African tourism stories. It's so important. Like, I know that a lot of people do not understand how interesting and how impactful it can be visiting African countries. Like this, and it does something to the brain.
Yeah. Travel does something, yes.
It does something to the brain. It makes you refresh. It opens up opportunity.
It changes how you see the world.
Yes, and to be honest, all this can happen within Africa. Africa is so rich in everything, you know. So, and I understand what you're saying, that it's hard to go to some African countries. It's hard to, you know.
They asked for my marriage. We were going to Egypt. They asked for our marriage license. They wanted to know how long we have been married. But let me tell you here and now, I will go back to Egypt.
Yeah.
Apart from the fact that, you know, Egypt's also known for, you know, you need to be careful when you're in Egypt, exactly. If not, you know, it's easy to be prone, to be robbed, to be
everywhere.
The streets of Paris are not safe, my friend.
Yeah.
The streets of Paris are not safe.
It doesn't take away the whole experience. I know it doesn't take away the whole experience
at all. And this is what you just said now is what I've been talking about. Like, because of how beautiful Egypt is. Do you know the significance of saying the pyramid, the stories behind it? It is crazy. And then what we want to talk about is how you can be mugged on the streets. Because if you go to America, you can be mugged on the streets. If you go to the UK, there was a time when they were, you know, cutting off hands to steal wristwatches in the UK. Like, it's not about that. Like, I understand these things happen when you have bustling and hustling in the streets, when you have, like, you know...
Paris is not safe. There are actually advisories for tourists on the streets of Paris.
But when you go to Paris, what is the first story that comes to your mind?
Tower.
Yes, and it is the love
and then baguettes, fresh bread.
Dami, you're also a storyteller, right?
Yes.
So what role do you think, you know, Nollywood, the Afrobeat, you know, and even fashion, I'm talking about Nigerian and African fashion, what role can they play in converting, you know, global cultural interest into real tourism?
Like I said earlier, when we were off screen at that time, that when significant policy changes want to happen or a shift in culture, it is done by storytelling. It is done by films. It is done by how we do, like, campaigns. You know, like I said, the first contact people have with African countries is, you know, social media stories, travel campaigns, tourism when they come in. And that is where storytelling is so important. And that is where the marriage between Voyage Quest and Switch Visuals is so, it's such a divine one. We're so bent on telling this story the way it should be told, and telling our own story ourselves. I recently just got back from Egypt as well, and
I drove an RV in the Sahara Desert, guys. My God, the videos live. I drove an RV. I remember my daughter was with my husband and my niece or my goddaughter was with me, and I remember it. There was just sand. Then we could see Cairo in the distance. And I'm like in the middle. It was a fantastic.
Yesterday I said we're like, right? I said, you drove an RV, I drove a go-kart in Dubai desert.
We need to travel. I want to ask Damilola, I want to ask you something, because on this storytelling,
look at how you're saying this. Look at how you're telling the story. We need to tell the story this way. It cannot be the forefront of telling a story of your trip in Egypt. Cannot be. They try to swindle me. They try to.
Everybody tries to swindle everywhere. So you know, this makes me think of Kajuru Castle. In Kaduna, I believe it is. And then I remember there was a recent video I saw online, and the guy was saying this is not Dubai. It was somewhere in Nigeria. I think it was in Niger State. White sands. The lake was amazingly beautiful.
Do you know we have a desert in Yobe State?
Yeah, there was another girl recently who took an Okada from Alpha Beach, from a beach in Lagos, all the way to Ogun State. And then the beaches, I'm like, what are we doing?
Yeah, and he was so amazing. And that is what we're saying. Like, we need to tell the stories that way, and we need to tell the stories ourselves. Because yes, it's not really about like just showing the white glove or the charity works.
No, or showing the lucky toll gates.
Yeah, we have people that are doing amazing tech work, travel tech, fintech, healthcare. We have innovators. We have industry leaders that are shaping the world. They're shaping the future of tomorrow. Those stories need to be told, and we need to start telling it now.
And one thing I like about this tourism thing, it's much more sustainable. It will give you more jobs, more money sustainably over the years than this crude oil we continue to mine. That they say has some kind of thank you, my darling.
I'll tell you a very good story about that right now. Like there was someone that went abroad to study AI tech for agriculture, and now she's back running a tech school for young girls in Lagos. Do you understand how powerful that is? And you can imagine that someone that had the capability to do that, if they didn't have the opportunity to migrate or to travel, it would be hard to now build the future that we're building now. Like you have young girls that are now exposed to agricultural tech. It's powerful. It's amazing. It's changing the culture. It's changing the dynamics. It is.
No, it's definitely. You're coming
yes.
back.
I
just want to ask you one quick question and give just one quick answer. Why have you not jackpot?
Why would I? There's so much to do here. And I really, really consider myself as an industry leader. And I think I'm one of those people that are at the forefront of changing things. I need to be here. Wow. I travel all the time. I can't get. I'm happy to get these visas, and I think it's possible for everybody to. I don't think there's any visa I don't have access to, but I'm happy for people to be able to do that because. For people that have jackpot as well, you understand that it always come back home because everybody want to come back home. Africa is home, and they bring back the knowledge. They're having startups here, their innovations. Everybody has a part to play. I don't think mine is in the jackpot.
But let's not also forget that these things actually come with challenges as well, because there's so many. The reason why a lot of people don't even like traveling to Nigeria is because so many travel agencies tend to take advantage of the opportunity. They inflate prices, some even dupe people. If you're jackpotting as well, you get duped as well. So
yes.
It's a conversation that has to be continued, especially when it comes to migration. And then I'd like to also hear your experiences in this field. And Tolu made mention of the second definition of your office. Second definition, and we didn't have time to talk about that. Dami, thank you so much for being part of today's show.
I'm so happy to be here.
She's so pretty. Guys, this is our show for today. Thank you so much for being part of Jasiri on a rainy Wednesday.
That the rain has started
again. Be safe out there. Jesus. Till tomorrow.
It's my favorite weather, by the way, rain.
It shouldn't not be weather for two. Dashin. Who's the two?
Me and Jesus.